Han Ji-woo, a man who always appears calm, a lawyer with a perfect suit, a perfect reputation, and a perfect smile. But behind the glass, behind the mirror, he carries a silence no one can see. He adjusts his tie, as if he can fix the past the same way he fixes his appearance. The law firm is quiet, but his heart is loud. He thought he had escaped it. He thought the past was buried. But the courtroom doesn't allow secrets. Because in the middle of the trial, his eyes meet someone he never expected to see again. Lee Min-jae, the name that once meant everything, and then meant nothing at all. 7 years of unanswered questions, 7 years of empty messages. Now, on the courthouse steps, the city's sunset paints everything gold, except their faces. Min-jae's eyes are steady, but his voice is soft. He says the words Ji-woo has avoided for years. You left without a word. And Ji-woo can't look at him, because if he looks, he will remember everything. They were trainees once, 2 young boys with bright eyes and tired bodies. They trained until their legs shook, and they laughed when they were too exhausted to cry. The practice room was their world. The mirrors reflected their dreams. And in that world, they were inseparable. Min-jae's smile was always bright. Ji-woo's silence was always warm. They promised each other the same thing. They promised they would debut together. They promised they would never leave. But dreams can break, and promises can turn into lies, even when they were meant to be true. Ji-woo stood alone in the same practice room, holding his phone like it was a lifeline. Missed calls, unanswered messages, his own name appearing on the screen, and still he didn't answer. He turned off the lights, he walked away, and the room became empty, forever. Years passed. Ji-woo became a corporate lawyer. Min-jae became a public interest counsel. They built lives in the same city, but they were not living the same life. Then one night, a rainy night in Seoul, they found themselves in the same bar. Ji-woo sat alone, drinking in silence. Min-jae entered, soaked from the rain, and sat beside him, as if it was the most natural thing in the world. They didn't hug, they didn't speak right away, because the air between them was full of memories, and memories are heavier than words. The rain stopped, but the city still shined with wet reflections. The street was quiet. Min-jae stood close, not too close, just enough to feel the same breath. He asked the question he had never stopped asking. Did you miss me? Ji-woo's hands trembled. His voice was low, and for the first time in years, he let his truth escape. Every day, the confession hung in the air, and their faces were only inches apart. But there was no kiss, not yet, because this was still the beginning. They were no longer trainees, no longer boys. They were lawyers. The world forced them to stand together again, but this time, not as opponents, not as rivals, but as partners. Their hands brushed under the table, a silent promise that was stronger than any words, and in that moment, they realized the truth. Some reunions aren't accidents, they are second chances, and this time, they will not let each other go. Subscribe and turn on notification for more.